Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome or welcome back. This is Tuesday, so it's Tag Tuesday. And this is the Booktube Watching Tag. It was originally created by Mike at Bibliophile Reads, and I was tagged at Saracen's Salute. So this is about how we as content creators also view and participate in booktube as watchers as well as contributors. So I'll just read the 10 prompts. 1, how many channels are you subscribed to? I did have to count this, and as far as bookish channels, there are 36. Number 2, when do you normally watch booktube? And it's when I have time. If I'm in between books and have a little bit, an hour or so, and instead of reading and starting a brand new book, I'll catch up on the stuff that I need to. But I also I have some friends on here that is I try to watch things when they post it too, as soon as I'm able. Number 3, how do you balance booktube watching, reading, and making your own videos? Well, the juggling kind of fell flat because as I read more, because I don't want to sacrifice my reading, so I want to make sure that I'm prioritizing that. So then it's more, instead of watching videos, I'm posting. I have been limiting myself now to only do 2 videos a week in the coming year, so that way I can just film for maybe an hour both videos on a weekend, and then have the rest of the time to read, and then I won't feel so guilty when I'm catching up on video watching either. Let's see. Number 4, is there a difference between videos you like watching and the videos you like making? I love watching book discussions or bookish discussions. In more in-depth reviews, I don't like the surface level views or reviews. So I tend to just casually dismiss those if people are just giving me the bare basics on their reviews. If they're recommending something that's completely different, I don't need the whole review on it. I just need something that's going to make it sound interesting enough for me to pick up, especially if it's a book that I've never heard of before. So I do also like that. I like watching random book recommendation videos. I also love making the random book recommendation videos because it's easy to be reviewing and talking about the books that you are currently reading, but we so rarely get the chance to, especially when you start making content, to talk about the books that you love in the past that you read prior to making YouTube content. So if we don't make time to specifically talk about those books that we previously read, whether it's bringing them up in videos for tags and stuff, where you get to insert one of those books in one of the random tag suggestions or topics, then you have to make time to do it on your own, and that usually comes in random book recommendation videos that I like to do every so often. If there's a book that's been on my mind and I want to talk about, but I don't have any other way to discuss it rather than just throwing it out there, if I can't tie it into another book that I've just read and enjoyed and kind of recommend it that way, I do want to specifically make video content where I'm choosing like 5 or 6 videos or books and just recommending them and talking about them. I also have enjoyed participating, now that I'm a content creator, participating in the different monthly book challenges and events and stuff. I'm trying not to add to my already growing TBR. So when I participate in those books, I'm trying to incorporate books that I've already wanted to read, and still be able to fit into this community aspect of the challenge, and so that we can all be talking about the same types of themes or the same types of books and stuff. So it does make it feel more like a community when you're allowed to participate in things like that. Uh, Number 5, who is the first booktuber you subscribed to, and do you still watch them? My first booktuber was Jack Edwards. I did not know book thing was a thing until I was randomly scrolling and saw him with like a huge library behind him, and I always have to read and listen and want to know what books people are talking about, what books he had on his shelves, anything like that. So I didn't know it was this wider thing. I just started, listening to him, and then he would start recommended books that I would read or learn about, and then he would start talking about other content creators, and that's how I discovered that Booktube was a thing and that he wasn't just this random outlier. So I got to find a whole bunch of different people just by following down that rabbit hole. So I don't watch him as much anymore. He also doesn't put out as much content, and so kind of out of sight, out of mind. So I have different favorites that I follow and I prefer instead. Number 6, who is the most recent booktuber you subscribe to? So there have been a few, and they're either ones that we followed mutually, or I got tagged on, or they started commenting on my stuff and then I started following them as well, or was recommended them. So Uncommon Reader, Sanchita Way, and Sui's book banter. I have the worst writing. I apologize. Gore Vidal's comic books, and For the Love of Comics. Those ones were helpful as I started talking about graphic novels and found out that I'm not the only one out there on this side of BookTube that enjoys all kinds of content, and not just classics and nonfiction, but also comic books and graphic novels. So share an old favorite booktuber. So some of the first ones that I started following after Jack Edwards and that rabbit hole were Carolyn Marie Reeds and Katerina Ream. And I will be tagging all the people that I mentioned down below. So I really enjoyed their content because I actually enjoy reading the kind of books that they're actually talking about, whereas Jack Edwards was more in general talking about books. And then one that I really found that I enjoy, because he reads a lot of nonfiction, but also fantasy, and then he'll talk manga and graphic novels and everything in between, is Michael over at Kist Reads Books. Number 8, share a new favorite booktuber. I really enjoy ancient to recent. It's history book recommendations and stuff like that. I found a lot of great books that I've enjoyed from there. Also, Allison Talks Books doesn't specifically review books. She does more book discussions and that kind of deep dive content that is interesting to me. And then number 9, what is one of your BookTube pet peeves? I am newer to BookTube in general, whether not just as a watcher, but as a content creator. But I don't really have any. I do prefer authenticity. I don't want to go after, and I don't tend to view the the videos and stuff that feel like a attention grab. Like if they're just following whatever trend there are. I see all kinds of like unloading, you know, book haul type of things, or just stuff that feels gimmicky to me. I'm not, I guess, a fan of like the big, huge followers or with lots of followers anymore who are just out for the attention and everything, and the likes and the views and stuff. I want to just discuss books and learn about. I love learning about things, so whether it's historical, fiction reps, there or recommendations, or read around the world. The challenge that I'm doing, I want to learn about content and people's suggestions for other writers from around the world, other cultures around the world, other topics that are not always going to be discussed on YouTube because they're not, you know, the it thing. Just want a real, genuine discussion about books that people love, and why they love them. And also, I started watching Booktube and watching YouTube in general, to learn things, and so I want to feel like I'm doing that with the people that I'm following as well. Whether I get to follow smaller creators who I can interact with and form a community with, or people who are going to introduce me to topics or books or different things in history or around the world that I would have not ever encountered elsewhere. So that's what I'm looking for. And so anything that is not doing that, I guess, is not so much a pet peeve, but it's just not for me, and it's not going to be something that I follow. And number 10, what have you learned from watching other booktubers? Or I guess that's what, I guess that kind of answers that question as well, is I found a lot of new great books that I wouldn't have encountered, great authors that I like. Being part of the community where we're doing different events and stuff together. I'm trying things that I wouldn't have tried before. Like this year I found horror books, and I actually have enjoyed the ones that I've read, and I would have never considered that one of my go-to genres. So expanding my horizons, just being introduced to a new way of thinking, new way of looking at things, new way of approaching reading, and just new books in general to read. And then also, what I've learned the most and what I've enjoyed the most is the community that this is, and that we're building together. And I've been able to find some really great friends. And one of them is Saracen, so thank you for this tag. I hope I did it justice. I really enjoyed your version of this because I like to see how you got into it. And that's what I like about these tags and stuff, because we could just be putting out content and just talking about books. But the reason why we like books is also what's fascinating, because we're all coming to each book that we read and each situation with our own baggage, with our own biases, with our own experience. And so what you find interesting is not always what I find interesting. What you hate, I might love. And I don't think that there is a good or a bad way to consume. And I just feel like this community has taught me to be more open-minded in and trying to understand maybe why some people love one thing and I don't. Just because something is not for me, it does not mean it's a bad book. And just because somebody doesn't love my favorite book, it does not mean it's the end of the world or the end of the friendship or the end of anything. It just leaves us so much more to discuss, because there's so much that it is open to discussion when we're all coming from it from different angles. And we may find a book that we didn't always appreciate or didn't always enjoy actually interesting if we got a different take on it, if we understood what was being said a little bit more, or a different way that we could have taken it. I know a lot of times I tend to read more, not logically, but almost, I'm not very good at metaphors and understanding like a lot of like the depth stuff. Being on the spectrum a bit myself, I tend to see things in a specific way, and I don't always see beyond the surface. I understand character motivations far more than I understand human regular motivations, and so describing something that's very great figuratively, or what the like I actually have to understand the context going into a lot of things to really enjoy something, especially classics, which they're saying so many different things. And if I don't understand it and I'm only reading it on a surface level, I may not enjoy it. And having these broad conversations, seeing people's reactions to things that I might have misunderstood or not taken correctly, makes me appreciate something in every book that I read. And so even if it's not for me, I'm learning to understand why it might be for someone else. And I feel like that is not, like, empathy is not only reading a book and being able to empathize with characters, but having a bookish community moves empathy in a different, more tangible way, because it allows for those interactions that we're specifically seeing, that we're seeing the world differently as we're discussing it, how we can consume the same book and have completely different takeaways. And I think that the world needs more of that in general, more of the problem solving, troubleshooting, and not just taking things at face value. Not just everything you read is absolute truth and but to have this ability to discuss things openly and build a community out of it. And that's what I've learned most about Booktube. I follow a whole bunch of different content creators from all around the world. I have friends now from other places around the world. And as much as I'm trying to read and expand my own horizons, I know that I have my own biases and my own blind spots. And it's helpful to me to learn when I'm missing something, or wrong about something, or need to dig a little deeper in understanding something. And I hope that I'm able, through my channel, to give that kind of depth and nuance to people as well as they're viewing the content that I create. And I think that the more that we do that together, the more that we can not just contribute well here on BookTube, but contribute properly within the world around us. And I'm thankful for that opportunity here. And I'm thankful that I found a whole bunch of people who continuously teach me things and help me grow, and who are my friends here on BookTube. So thank you. And I am not going to tag anyone specifically. Most of the time I tag Saracen, and he's the one who tagged me, and I know that Angelina's not doing tags anymore. So if anyone that I had mentioned in the video wants to participate and I would love to hear what they have to say about it. Consider yourself tagged. Otherwise, I'm not going to do specific tagging for this. But thank you for letting me participate, and thank you for listening. Happy reading as always, and enjoy your day.